ASWG-64 Gundam Flauros was the 64th of the 72 Gundam frames constructed during the Calamity War. Floros is primarily white, with blue armor plating sparsely throughout the mobile suit with gold trim on the venting. It has thick big shoulders, giant armor plating on the back of the wrists, two giant cannons on each shoulder, and a very wide and interesting looking feet that end in two toes, and the armor coming off at an angle. Flauros' V-fin is very interesting shaped, looking somewhat like a spoiler. It's wide and thick with smaller vertical wings on the ends. It also has a giant sensor on its head, and face mask is also particularly interesting as it almost looks like a mouth with teeth. Floros gets its name from the 64th demon in the Ars Godia. Floros is a demon who's depicted as a leopard and can turn into a man with a terrifying face, which is a very fitting name for Floros since it's one of the only frames in the series which is able to change its form, and the fact that its face does look quite menacing. In the book Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans Mechanics in the World 2, designer Kantake Ibukawa, the first name he gave Floros was Bale, as he felt the spider-like demon reflected the shelling mode's quadrupedal form. However, he later found that Floros was even more suitable because of Floros' ability to change forms, just like the demon Floros. This is what Floros looked like when Galahorn first used the mobile suit 300 years ago during the Calamity War, but would eventually be left behind in a half-metal mine where it would remain for the next 300 years until it was excavated in PD 325 by Tekkadan alongside the Hajmel mobile armor. Another interesting thing is the fact that both Barbatos and Floros were both recovered from the Mars desert, meaning that potentially they fought alongside one another on Mars. However, they weren't recovered from the same site, so maybe they were both dispatched to fight on Mars, but never actually got to fight alongside one another. Tekkadan initially wasn't able to activate the suit, so they sent it to Tewaz, where they found the two Ahab reactors to be in a sleep mode, and they were able to reactivate them and restore Floros to its original state. Floros' damaged cannons were replaced with new railguns, and some other minor changes, although the biggest change was the color of its nano-laminate armor. It was changed to pink per request of the mobile suit's new pilot, Narva Shino. The suit was also given a second name, the Ryasego, which was a trend following all the other mobile suits that Shino would pilot, like his IBO 6 Grays Custom, STH-16 Shiden Custom, IBO 6/TC3 Grays Custom, all being named the Ryasego and having the pink color scheme. But back to Floros. Floros is a custom transforming artillery mobile suit. Thanks to the two large artillery cannons and artillery unit on its back, it's able to give long-range shelling support, but its artillery capabilities are increased when it transforms into shelling mode. In this mode, Floros' body shifts and changes into a quadrupedal form with anchoring supports on each limb and a lower center of gravity to help increase the unit's accuracy and absorb the recoil of the powerful railguns better. Because of this transforming ability, there are two different hatches to enter the mobile suit when in shelling mode, one on top for shelling mode and one in the front of the chest while in mobile suit form. Each railgun can shoot bullets made from the same metal as Gundam frames. These railguns are known as Dainsleif and are illegal, being seen as inhumane weapons by Galahorn, but because Tekkadan used conventional warheads, it falls under a gray area. Shino referred to these weapons as the Galaxy Cannon. However, Tekkadan would eventually use the actual illegal Dainsleif projectiles, which are large and shaped like a lance, and it was dubbed the Super Galaxy Cannon by Shino. Floros has all kinds of armaments. Short-barreled cannon. When in non-shelling mode, Floros has two short-barreled cannons. While not as powerful as the railguns, these short-barreled cannons offer some versatility, as Floros is able to move and shoot at the same time. Railgun. Like previously mentioned, Floros has a pair of railguns. An attachment on the shelling unit shifts upwards and connects to the short-barreled cannons, turning them into railguns and allowing them to load in the Dainsleif projectiles. Floros has two 120mm machine guns mounted on its back that are able to be used hands-free on either side of its waist. Assault knife. Floros has a pair of interesting looking weapons called assault knives, being bulky with the tips being the only sharp part. This is the only close range armament Floros has. Arm shield. Floros has a pair of shields attached to its wrists that also double as anchor points when in shelling mode, being slammed into the ground to steady its position for shelling. Floros is also equipped with the Alea Vignana, which I've explained many times in videos before, so I won't go into too much detail, but it's a surgery where the pilot is able to be connected directly to the mobile suit, increasing their piloting abilities. Floros played an important part in the battle against the Hajmel. It was able to separate the Pluma from the Hajmel using its railguns, making the fight much easier easier, as now they didn't have to worry about an army of plumas. The pluma are small unmanned subunits that are controlled by the mobile armors. While only about the size of a mobile worker and not that strong, these little units can become a problem when they are used in large numbers, becoming an overwhelming force. Floros was a very proficient mobile suit, being able to take on multiple enemy units at once, using its railguns and short-barreled cannons, even shelling and taking down enemy ships, and using its assault knives for close-range attacks. It assisted the framed turbines and their escape, and when they fought back for revenge against the JPT Trust. Floros would eventually be destroyed after Tekkadan assisted McGillis Farid in his coup d'etat against Gallarhorn and fighting Rustal Elian and the Arianrod fleet. Floros would be hit with a bombardment of Dainsliff, losing its arm and sustaining major damage. But its pilot Sheena wouldn't give up and tried to launch the Super Galaxy Cannon at the Arianrod flagship, but it would miss due to interference from the Julia Regenlays, and Sheena and the Floros would be destroyed by the Arianrod fleet. After that, all that remained was the torso of Floros. Just an interesting side tangent, but did you know that we were supposed to get a Master Grade Floros? Back in 2018, the site Gundam Info did a fan poll where fans got to vote to see which mobile suit from Iron-Blooded Orphans would get a Master Grade variant to celebrate the release of the Master Grade Barbatos. Floros had actually won the consensus among fans with 28.8%, with Barbatos Lupus Rex in second at 16.4%. However, we've never received a Master Grade Floros and haven't received any info since either, leaving Floros fans disappointed and confused. Strangely, since then, the only other Iron-Blooded Orphans Master Grade kit we've gotten is Vidar, and that was this year, which I'm not complaining about because I love Vidar and I pre-ordered that kit. However, it's just weird that they decided to skip over Floros Master Grade, despite the fans' overwhelming support for wanting this kit. Floros only went through 2 forms in the series and was sadly destroyed, but was an extremely cool mobile suit with some really unique and interesting abilities. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and leave some requests of other mobile suits or mechs that you want to see covered in the future, because we are running out of Iron-Blooded Orphan suits.